why does Tolkien's work resonate across different types of people, perhaps different ages, or is it that it speaks to children who carry it with them? Do adults pick up Tolkien? Does a 50-year-old who's never read Tolkien pick up Tolkien and just say, "Wow," like the kids do?
I think obviously when you pick anything up in your teens,
Right.
if you're going to love it, you're going to love it with a passion that's hard
Absolutely.
to replicate later in life. Nonetheless, people do come to Tolkien in all kinds of different ways, and the demographic is very different from the demographic of spotty teenage boys, which is what I think it's probably still associated with to some people. I have to admit, I fitted that demographic, but
Right.
I think, several reasons. Well, of course, Tolkien writes quite designedly in mythic archetypes. And mythic archetypes go deep. They are multicultural. He sets his action in a world which is quasi-medieval or classical, perhaps an ancient world anyway, where there are no real obvious contemporary signposts that the new generation might look upon and think, "Oh, that's old hat now," right? So whereas a lot of stuff that's published in the 1930s or the 1950s will just hold no interest for younger readers because it's the feel of it, the atmosphere is so old hat, that simply can't apply to Tolkien. And also the other thing is, of course, he wrote for children and he wrote for adults. He wrote The Hobbit and other things intentionally for his own children. But at the same time, he was writing it for C.S. Lewis, and C.S. Lewis was an adult with sophisticated tastes and interests, and he was writing it too for himself. So he didn't set up these rather artificial barriers that publishing and marketing tend to want to impose, and media tends to want to impose. He actually liked to push the envelope, play around with barriers. He never wrote the same thing twice. This is one of the interesting things about him. So he wrote a mythology, the Silmarillion, which is the thing he kept working on throughout his life. He wrote a children's story set there, completely different in style and perspective. And he wrote The Lord of the Rings, a self-contained epic set there, again, totally different. And when he sat down to start a sequel to The Lord of the Rings, which he never completed, never got very far with, and that was going to be a detective story, a detective thriller, again, a totally different genre. So, he resists being boxed.
Interesting. How do you, when you watch the movies that come out on The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, what's your take? Like, do you enjoy those movies? Do you feel like, well, as a movie, it's fine. It's just, this is what I thought this is how I saw the book. You read a book, see a movie, then read the book. Obviously, you read the book first. What's your take on the movies of the books?
Well, my take's quite different from people who hadn't read the books first. So there's an awful lot of people who came to the books after the movies, and that's a wonderful thing.